Hello, I'm Steve and welcome to Green Side Up. I thought I'd better do a quick intro up here at home. I didn't manage to get one done down at the allotments for one reason or another. So, welcome. It's time to pot on my celeriac. It's a bit of a finicky plant. They can be really fine at start and very difficult to prick out, so you've got to let them grow on. And what I do is this: I sow multiple seeds in a module, and then I want to pick out the best plants out of there. So because I've riddled this soil, as I do for all my seedlings, I'm able to just gently shake it apart, and the soil compost will just fly off. Then I'm left with just a mass of roots and plants, and you can very gently choose these apart. If they don't come, you've loosened it a bit, shake it a bit more of the compost comes off, and there we go. We're just separating the plants up, very gently teasing the roots out to leave us with just the plants and their roots. You could do this with many seedlings that you've got, but if you don't sieve your soil at the start of it, you'll have bits of wood and stem and all kinds of rubbish in there, and the roots will bind themselves to it. So this is just another reason why you sieve your soil. So there we go, and just whack them in there, pot them up. Individual celeriac plants, no trouble at all. You've just got to be patient and let them come up. I know there's one guy in particular, a YouTuber this year, has had particular trouble with them, but until you've actually grown them, you will have trouble with them. Anyone does, and I did. And I remember the first year I had them, I was cutting them off. Eventually, at the start, at the start of the season, I might have 10 in a little plug, and I was cutting them off, and it didn't quite work out for me. And it was 2 years or so before I got the hang of it. And you just work these things out for yourself. You do what actually works for you in a given situation. People say they can't grow them. Well, you can. You just need a little bit more patience than you would for other things. I mean, a tomato just comes up and you pot it on. It's easy. Cucumbers are even simpler. These just require a little bit more time and a little bit more patience. You see very quickly there, I've got 8, 9, 10 plants, and it's not rocket science, but it's because I've sieved the soil right at the start. If I hadn't have done that, I wouldn't be able to do this. I certainly wouldn't get away with it. Another thing this method works really well for is leeks. You sow a load of leeks in a pot. You might have 30 or 40 leeks. Just take the soil off, wash it off if you have to, and you'll be able to do the same thing. I mean, these are fabulous little plants now, and the great thing about them is they're so dirt cheap. I mean, I keep harping on about them, but Premier Seeds Direct, most of their seeds are either 69p or 99p. These were 99p, super expensive. But they're for 10,000 seeds. I mean, you don't need that many. God knows why they sell 10,000 seeds, I've no idea. Maybe it's the smallest weight they can measure, because the seeds are tiny, like dust. I don't know. I'm not asking, I'm not getting them to change it. Well, this is as simple as it can get. Just got to have a bit of patience and wait for those seeds to grow. Keep them moist. Not soaked, just moist, and they'll grow for you. So, I mean, I'm discarding all these because they're not very good, but they would all grow. I don't need that many. I mean, I'm giving some away. The lady I gave lettuces to the other day, you may have saw her on one of my videos. She wants some, so I'll do up a little tray for her. There we go. They just come apart nice and easy. They're wonderful, isn't it? So I shall let these grow on now until I see roots coming out the bottom, and then I shall probably plant them out. Right, and I'm going to do exactly the same with these antirrhinums. I'll just pull a clump of them out. Again, you can see how many's in there. It's absolutely wicked with them. So I'll just pull these apart, shake the soil off, tease them apart. So again, from a big clump of seedlings, we've got all these little plants. These are flowers, antirrhinums. They're commonly known as snapdragons. Great in the. I grow them for cut flowers for the vase. And this was one tray that the cat missed. Some of you may remember that one of our cats knocked all my propagators over earlier in the season. But missed this one. Ha! So there we go, one little tray of snapdragons, using the same method, just shaking the soil off, and you just tease them apart. You find the one that wants to move, you hear cracking and breaking, find another plant, shake some more compost off, loosen them up. Preferably you want to be doing this without breaking the roots, and you can get them into some compost. Get some water on, because these are very dry and the roots will be dry once you've done this. And your plants will just keep growing. I mean, it really doesn't get any easier than this. So there we go, there's a little cheat method for you, potting on plants and what you can do. If you know you can do that, you can use very small seed trays or cram an awful lot of seeds into one very big tray. And the ones that Cat knocked over earlier in the season, they each had 20 varieties of different types of seed in them. You know, a seed tray this size. because you can plant them so close, because you know you can just pull them apart again. So very quickly we've got 20 plants there. Very quickly you've got 20 plants there, and we've still got room for more. There's probably another 20 there, and then there's probably another 20 there. So that'll make a nice big show and plenty of cut flowers. There we go, Antirrhinums, snapdragons. So that's it for today. I hope you find that useful for taking seedlings apart that you've perhaps left a little bit too long, which does happen. And sometimes, especially with celeriac, it's more beneficial to let them grow on, I feel, to get a better plant out of them at the end of the day. I mean, I'm quite clumsy, and for me handling them when they're much smaller is not good. It doesn't work out good for the plants. So for me that method works well. What I should have shown down there was I also had some other plants with the Antirrhinums. They were status, and if you look back in the video you'll see them, they were a light green leaf. Now I cleaned all the compost off those roots and they still wouldn't come apart, and the easy fix from there on in is to get them into some water and swill them about in some water. You'd be amazed how quick that will separate the plants. So they were separated, they're now potted on, and they will grow later. So it's just an added thing for you, and a great way to untangle plants, as I say, and you will come across that at some stage, so it's useful to know. But it's all key, and at the start when you sow your seeds you must sieve your soil. If you don't, you'll have all kinds of bits in there, and the roots will entangle themselves, tie themselves around those bits of soil, and you'll never get them apart. Sieve your soil, make it standard for all your seeds that you sow, and you'll never look back. Okay, so that's it, and I'll see you on the next one. Don't forget to subscribe if you can. This helps me, it gives me an idea and an indication to what you folk are liking, what you want to see. By the surges in people subscribing, lets me know how good I'm doing. So if you can do that, that helps me to help you, and hopefully overall will give us both better videos. So there you go, hit that little red button just down there, subscribe. Cheers now, see you on the next one, and stay safe.